This is a 190 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff attorney, Mr. Jones, capital Jones. Defense attorney, Ms. MS period, Lane, capital Lane. And we will start with defense attorney. Ready? Here we go. Okay, your brother Wayne that you refer, is he going to be here today to testify? No. Okay, the police officer that you spoke to, is he coming to testify today? No. Now you told the police officer that you had been run off the road by a tanker trailer. Did you ask him to go and radio ahead and stop the BTL tanker trailer on the highway? No, I did not. Okay, do you have a police report here today with you? They didn't make a police report prior to making your lane change to the left. Did you think were you aware that there were any cars ahead of you in the far left turn lane, that it would have presented a danger for you to accelerate and move to the left? I didn't recall any cars ahead of me. Okay, just want to go back to the exhibit number 2, plaintiff's exhibit number 2 that you compiled. Why is it in plaintiff's exhibit number 2 you put my client's vehicle not only in the left through lane, but he's also moving on the right through lane? Well, it was a cut and paste. I didn't have all the good tools that you had to paste it together. It was the tools that you gave to me, so I cut by hand and placed them there, and they were just blown up from that. Okay, but you're not suggesting by this that you saw or you have knowledge that my client veered into the right turn? No. Right through lane? By no means. Okay. You'd been following that tractor trailer for a while, Mr. Irvin, hadn't you? About 2 miles probably. Okay, and I guess given that it's a tanker truck, it would have stopped right in advance of the railroad tracks. Do you remember that? And you probably would have to stop behind it? No. You don't recall that? No. Well, if that's the case, as I stated, there were 3 lanes. He turned in the far right lane, so I may have been in front of him by that time, and he passed me at one point. And were you getting frustrated with the tractor trailer driver? No. I don't have any further questions. Redirect, Mr. Irvin, when the tractor trailer came into your lane and you jumped into the lane to your left, did you have time to signal? No. Did you have time to blow your horn? No. Did you have time to hit the brakes? No. Did you have time to do something besides what you finally did? No. Did you have to work the day of this accident? I did. What time did you have to be at work? 2. What time did the accident happen? About 12. When the accident happened, how far were you from home? Not far at all. As soon as I made my right turn, I was at home. In minutes, how long would it take you usually to get home from where this accident happened? Less than a minute. Were you in a hurry? No. Were you trying to pass this tractor trailer? There was no need. No. Why? I wasn't in a rush. I was home soon as I made that turn. Do you know, can you tell us about how far in distance it would have been after you made that left turn onto Leonard Road? How did you have to drive before you turned around? Less than a quarter mile. And how long would it take you to travel that far? About 35 miles an hour, 20-30 seconds, maybe a minute, less than a minute. And are there lane markings where Mattawoman Bean Road comes out to 4 lanes? Yes. And I'd like to direct your attention to what we've already marked as Exhibit 1. If I can remember where it is, again, I'm going to show you Exhibit 1. Now, do these lane markings look like what you remember the lane markings looking like? Yes, they do. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Can I walk over to the jury, Your Honor? Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to show you what I'm showing Mr. Irvin. I was showing him the lane markings. As you can see, there are lane markings indicated on the diagram here, and that these are the same markings that he remembers being there at the scene, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. I don't have any more questions, Your Honor. Recross, just briefly, Your Honor. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Irvin, you didn't have time to hit your brakes. You didn't have time to sound your horn, right? But you did have time to check your mirrors and make a decision that you were to make a lane change to the lane to the left and to make that lane change, right? Split second, quick. Okay. Would it have taken you any more time to hit your brakes? I don't know. because that's the decision that you made under the circumstances. Yes. Okay, no further questions. Nothing based on that, Your Honor. Thank you, sir. You may step down. And, Your Honor, I would like to call Ms. Young as the next witness. Okay, with the court's permission, as she's an adverse party, do I have permission to lead this witness? Well, approach, please. Any objection, Mr. Ford? Well, it depends on the questions. What I'm going to allow it. I mean that they're adverse, so to speak, but not hostile, right? Okay, I would never say hostile, Your Honor. A lot of people do. Good afternoon, Ms. Young. Now, you on March 13, 2006, you were unfortunate enough to be involved in a car accident, weren't you? Yes, and this happened about 12, yes. And at that time, you were going down Mattawoman Bean Road, right? Yes, and you were headed to Mattawoman Bean Road's intersection with Leonard Road, yes. And as, correct me if I'm wrong, that road widens at that point from two through lanes to 2 through lanes and then 2 lanes that turn left at Leonard Road, right? Yes, if I'm going too fast, say so. And you planned to make a left turn onto Leonard Road, didn't you? Yes, and you got as you came down Mattawoman Bean Road, you just got into the far left turn, right? Yes, and while you were moving in that far left turn lane, at some point Ms. Irvin's vehicle came in your lane, right? Yes, and you struck the back of his vehicle, right? Yes, okay, and right before this accident happened, you were going about 35 or 40 miles an hour. Is that true? Yes, and it's the speed limit on that road, to the best of your memory, is 45 miles an hour. Yes, and this happened on a clear day around 12 noon, right? Yes. And the first time you ever saw Mr. Irvin's vehicle was when it came in your lane, wasn't it? Yes. And when he did come over into your lane, he was at least 10 feet ahead of you, wasn't he? About, yes, but you don't know whether he used a turn signal, do you? I didn't see one, no. And you don't know if his brake lights activated? No. You don't know whether he slowed down before he came over? No, before Mr. Irvin came into your lane. Had you ever seen his vehicle on the road that day? Not that I recall, no. Now, prior to the accident, prior to the collision happening, had you seen a Baltimore Tank Lines tanker truck? Not that I recall, no. And you hadn't seen in the road at that time, right? No. And you talked to Mr. Irvin after the accident, didn't you? Yes, and it's true, isn't it, that the first thing he said to you was, "Did you see the truck that cut me off?" Yes, and you told him that you hadn't seen that truck, right? But you did see that truck after the accident, didn't you? And that was when Mr. Irvin pointed it out to you, right? Yes. And by then it was stopped up ahead at the light, yes. And did that truck then make that left turn onto Leonard Road? Yes. And you didn't have any trouble seeing the truck when Mr. Irvin pointed it out to you? No. Okay, and where your eyes were looking straight ahead right before this accident happened, weren't they? Yes. Okay, were you after? Are you able to say what other vehicles were in the area? No. Just that there was traffic in the area. There wasn't any vehicle that stuck out in my mind, and even though there was at least 10 yards between your car and Mr. Irvin's car. Objection, it's not the testimony. That's true. What did I get wrong? You said 10 yards. Okay. 10 feet. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to trick you. I just forgot what the measurement was. There was at least 10 feet between the two cars, right? Yes. And despite that, you weren't able to avoid hitting the back of his car. All right. The word list. BTL is all caps, no periods, no spaces. BTL. Irvin, capital ERVIN. Mattawoman Bean Road, capital MATTAWOMAN. Bean, capital BEAN. Road, capital ROAD. Ms. Young, MS period, capital YOUNG. Leonard Road, capital LEONARD, capital R on road. Baltimore Tank Lines, capital BALTIMORE. New word, capital TANK. New word, capital L-I-N-E-S. And that's it for the word list. And that will conclude our 190 Q&A practice test.